So, guilty admission, I did read a little bit ahead with this next bit. It's good. It's I wanted to because it basically is a bunch of little different lines of dialogue here, but it doesn't identify who says what. I had to read ahead to find out who was saying this stuff, and it still isn't entirely clear, but I'll just go with it. So Chris has been captured. I heard a scream. Good. That boy is ready to face us all. He better be ready for wasting our time taking useless hostages. Those Mr. Saturns can't even do a good job for the life of them. I was Burp ready to show that kid Burp a lesson anyway. Why is our ally of this world a huge pile of living vomit?
That is the least of our complaints.
The boy overheard those echoing voices coming from behind him. He was not ready to face the people who kidnapped him on a short notice, but his body unwillingly turned around and grabbed the opposite bars to look down at an open door he just noticed was there. From said door, his eyes shrunk when he saw some people pouring into the room, people whose bodies were glowing with a dark aura he had never seen before. Chris couldn't stomach all that he was seeing with his own horrified eyes, because, despite the fact his most likely assailants were the 7 down there on the floor looking up at him with blank looks, it wasn't all that hard for him to tell who were cloaked in the stagnant dark air. There was no need for him to ponder who the broadest one was anyway. Master Belch. Oh, I guess it's a roll call then. Roll call. He was just as disgusting, if not more so, than his in-game appearance suggested, since he was a large pile of vomit with a face on top. He had the nasty habit of randomly burping and belching, attributing to the awful smell in the air that was hitting Chris's nose a lot. Unlike the other 6 besides him, Belch was not cloaked in a dark aura. One of them looked like he was walking with some meager upper body armor and carried a sword sheath on his belt. His hair color was impossible to tell, but it definitely looked messy. His appearance was that of a young teenager that was surely around Chris's age. Another dark aura wielder was a very diminutive creature that was barely tall enough to reach an adult's ankle. Its small body was no match to its sheer size its head and 2 pointy ears had, making it a wonder it could even stand upright on its small feet. Another one was an imposing figure with a strange body type that towered among all of them. Its lower body was large due to having a larger stomach that was fused with the beginning portion of its long tail, but the upper body was smaller but still regularly sized for a bipedal person. The strange head shape, connected to the back of its chest through a cord, was not so hard to tell apart. Another figure was small, yet displayed a cocky, sinister grin under its strangely connected eyes through a small gap between them. This figure was thin in body shape, but its head had big quills that ran behind it as if to indicate the owner liked to run around a lot. Which he did. Oh boy, it's my main man himself. Yet another assailant was someone who looked more like a dangerous thug, if only because said person was not entirely human, but looked like a very serious lupine humanoid, wearing just about every single trinket that screamed, "I'm gonna mess you up good." Chains clinking wherever his waist moved. I think he means clinking. Spiked shoulder pads swaying with the movement of his shoulders, a tail that swung to the sides occasionally, and steel boots that made echoing footsteps. The lupine was also banned for life, and showing a horrifying glare. Lastly, the last kidnapper was just the bottom of the iceberg that utterly baffled Chris with his presence. There was no way Chris would ever forget an appearance like the bad guy below had. "It seems you are awake," the tall one of the group spoke. Chris swallowed his breath and started to talk. What in the hell is going on here?" he asked, which could have easily been broken into 2 separate questions about his situation and the fact that he was kidnapped by the people he was looking down at. Why are my kidnappers Roy, Pichu, Mewtwo, Sonic, Wolf, and oh, holy crap!
A Lucario! Me!
The last one spoke, unfazed by Chris's stuttering. Unlike the Lucario Chris always knew and liked, the Lucario he was looking at was not so tall as his Lucario. Never mind the fact that his kidnappers used to be good people. Never mind the fact that one of them was a Lucario he didn't remember. It was all so hard to stomach. He found it hard to make sense of it all.
"Is my dark aura that scary to you, a lowly human?"
Yes, but, I mean, this makes no sense to me, Chris yelled at the Dark Wielders. Why did I get kidnapped? Why are you all covered in that dark aura? Why are you siding with the enemy? Why is one of you a big pile of disgusting puke? He continuously asked them, though the last one was an extra question he added at the last second just to cover the fact that he was from another world. Oh man, he's being resourceful and clever and thinking ahead. Roy shrugged. Fuck, I didn't think of a voice for Roy. Cock. Alright, let's just make him... I'll do a really shit Canadian accent. We just had to kidnap the loud one, didn't we? That was not a Canadian accent. Well, whatever it is, I'll keep doing that. He asked his comrades...
It's those Mr. Saturns who got the wrong one for us, you big dummy. They were told to bring Ness to us, but they confused him for this kid instead for some weird reason.
Pichu complained. While the Dark Aura Wielders put up an evil tone to their voices, only Pichu's sounded a little too forced that Chris sometimes forgot he was supposed to be a villain now. A weird reason? Duh! I know how they got those two confused with each other. They both wear the same clothes. Sonic spoke, grunting afterwards. Talk about a stupid slip-up. Remind me why we didn't kidnap Ness ourselves? Orders from Lord Taboo, Wolf spoke next, pinching his chin. He told us specifically to avoid raising suspicion among the local populace of this world. We could have mixed up pretty well with the strange happenings, but he wants us to exercise caution.
And we've done a good job on that,
the Lucario said.
Belch is our only connection to those useless Mr. Saturns. They don't even know we are the ones pulling the strings to the kidnapping plot.
Sonic grinned. Hey, did you forget one of us is the fastest thing alive? I could have swiped Ness from the ground in the blink of an eye if I wanted to, he boasted. Mewtwo grunted. Sonic, you are honestly too loud for stealth, and your ego catches up to you just as quickly that you will for sure show off in front of the enemy the first chance you get, he reprimanded. The hedgehog grunted loudly and looked rather evilly at the psychic. Not like they'll tell who I am after I'm done saying my line, he shot back, though the other villains looked at him with dull looks. No, that's not admitting I was going to do that if I could in the first place.
Enough, burp,
Belch interrupted with a loud burp.
If you guys need some reminders, let me give you one now.
What are you going to do with Ness's identical friend? Master Gygus is not going to be happy that we got him the wrong one, who is not one of the chosen ones from the prophecy. Burp. They stared back at Chris, who remained silent to avoid tempting them to hurt him in so many ways.
So,
Pichu trailed off in thought, looking confused at Chris.
I thought Lord Taboo said Master Hand was going to get help to fight the army. Is this kid one of them?
I do not remember his face, nor I know if he is from his team. Mewtwo noted. That Gygus person said to Belch there are only 3 chosen ones. Oh, jeez. But what about this one who is borrowing Ness's appearance? To further add to the confusion, I can sense that the strange psychic enemy. I can sense that strange psychic energy within him, though it is extremely feeble as it is. I do not know if we were meant to take him down. Chris gulped and shrank back. Sonic grimaced. Aren't you probably thinking too much? I saw this guy walking with, he pointed at the Lucario, someone else who looked like your brother or something. You two look the same.
Another Lucario, you say?
The Lucario asked, looking a little surprised at that statement. He narrowed his eyes at Sonic.
Are you sure you did not confuse some creature from this world with me?
No, I'm sure he looked just like you. He had the same unneeded spikes on his wrists and between his man boobs.
Firstly, your descriptions about me are sick. And secondly, that's impossible,
the Lucario growled.
The chances of Master Hand actually having a spare Lucario besides me are non-existent, just like having a spare Sonic. I was never told about having a replacement ready when I was with his side. I am a formidable fighter who needs no replacements.
So Master Hand's a villain now. I totally didn't see that coming. But why did he have blue aura then? I don't know. The teen-turned boy was unearthing a lot of info just being silent, and he was thankful that staying silent to listen to them was helping him to forget he was caged up. Unfortunately, he knew full well the worst was going to happen soon if he said the wrong things to them. What? Chris thought to himself. What does he mean by... Enough, you two. Roy spoke annoyed. Sonic was lucky enough to get Reconnaissance as his job. We haven't practically done anything in here, other than hiding the location from mind readers and other supernatural forces Master Hand may have used on the worlds. Not even Ness can detect this zone as long as we're here. Okay, no, so I guess Master Hand isn't a bad guy. And I was being dumb.
That makes us look like some freak viruses, Pichu muttered. Arg! What do we do with this wrong boy?
Wolf chuckled.
Well, since it is speculated that he was traveling with the psychic boy, why don't we simply use him as bait to lure the rest here?
He suggested. Bum 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 bum. I already made that noise in one of the previous parts. It wasn't funny now then. It sure as shit isn't funny now.